R&B artist Sparkle shared her truth on Lifetime's docu-series Surviving R. Kelly. She was one of the first people to publicly accuse Kelly of sexual misconduct. Since the docu-series premiere in January, Kelly has been charged with multiple counts of aggravated sexual abuse. He also sat down for an explosive interview with Gayle King on CBS this morning. Sparkle, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I know you take that deep sigh because I know it's been a tumultuous time. You know, if you look at the timeline, obviously when everything started to come to the forefront, as you were one of the first people to come out about all this, 2001 all the way to 2011, your family and you were split.
Yep.
No communication there, right?
Pretty much no communication, you know, splitting sides, you know, some people were on this side, some were on this side, but most importantly, it was just basically me and one of my brothers, Benny. And, you know, he stood with me in the truth. And that's what I stand for in this situation, is the truth, nothing but.
What's the relationship with your family today?
Well, like you stated, you know, 2011 we came back together, 50th anniversary for our parents. We did a big shebang for them. But after the trailer hit, a few days after we had laid to rest our mom, it was just haywire again.
Wow.
So I think what was so important about this docu-series is that we got a chance to see more of what you all are saying with your allegations on a national forefront that we haven't gotten before. And so clearly, hindsight 2020, people would possibly not let their children go with R. Kelly now. But what were you seeing? Because you didn't see, hopefully, we can talk about that too. But you didn't see that in the beginning. So can you just tell me what you saw when you first started this friendship and this working relationship with R. Kelly, and then what was the switch where you were like, wait a minute, this isn't okay?
Well, I met Robert way back when in '89. A girlfriend introduced us. She wanted him to hear me sing. Fast forward, I met some of his group members, and, you know, they called me down to the studio saying that, you know, come down, he wants to hear you sing. So I got a chance to hear him, got a chance for him to hear me sing in '92. I did all of the Aaliyah backgrounds on her first album, except for AJ Nothing But a Number. That's crazy. But yeah, and you know, after which, I had a 9 to 5, so I had to go back to work. You know what I mean? So in between working on the Aaliyah project, I was working. And then fast forward, no contact, '96, he called me back down himself and wanted me to do some more backgrounds for, I thought, someone else. But found out thereafter I was doing my own backgrounds for my debut album, Sparkle. And that came out in '98. It automatically went platinum, and that's the meeting. And when I was there with the Aaliyah project, I saw nothing. I didn't know
nothing unusual with R.
nothing
Kelly and
unusual.
Aaliyah.
I didn't know to even look for anything. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
Because her parents were there. Her uncle Barry Hankerson, which was Robert's manager at the time,
would never let anything like that happen.
You know, I didn't think so. But just thinking, you know, in studio life, people don't understand how it really works because there are many rooms in the studios. So if your parents were to go out for, say, 15 minutes, anything could happen. You know what I'm saying? There's so much going on in the studio. There's, you know, liquor, there's possibly drugs, there's, you know, a bevy of things that could happen. But, you know, if you don't pay attention for, like I stated, 15 minutes, it could be less than that. Something can happen. And unbeknownst to me, I wasn't looking for anything. I didn't know to look for anything.
So what was the thing where you said, okay,
well, after I'd gone away, you know, after I said, okay, I've done the Aaliyah project, it went from '92 to '96 when I was called back down in '96. And working on my CD, I still saw nothing. He didn't let me see anything. You know, people who really know Robert know that, you know, he keeps his people away from each other. He doesn't allow people to fraternize with each other, if you will. Other artists, we couldn't really talk to each other. So I didn't see anything. You know, he kept me pretty much like sheltered almost. Don't talk to this person, don't talk to that person. So a lot of people weren't, you know.
Sparkle, a lot of people, and this has come up somewhat recently after the docuseries aired, where people said, you know, Sparkle, she had her own career going. She knew this was going on. She turned a blind eye because she wanted her career to continue to soar. How could she not have known this stuff?
That's crazy.
And you've had to defend that.
Yeah,
How would
I've
you
had to
defend that
defend
on
it.
camera today for those people who say she knew what was going on?
The same way. I didn't know anything. Like, saw nothing. Like, if I had seen something, I would be doing what I did when I did find out something.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And even prior to the tape surfacing, I called the Department of Children and Family Services with 2 of my girlfriends. And, you know, because I was getting phone calls, this is after I had left the camp, because I asked for a release and I was granted a release in '99, very early in '99, because I was working on the second CD. And I was 3 songs in, we weren't jamming like we should, and I was just like, this is not a happy place for me anymore. So I asked to be released. He definitely gave me the release, and I'm happy for that. And after which, I started getting calls. 2000, I started getting calls. Me and my 2 girlfriends, like I stated, we called DCFS. And
What do you mean calls? What
we
calls
made
from people?
Yeah, in his inner circle still.
Okay.
Or in his inner circle.
Okay.
They gave me a call and was like, something doesn't look right, something doesn't feel right, you know.
So a lot of people
Yeah,
were
and
seeing
she's
red
down here alone, where are your sister and your brother-in-law, you know what I mean? So, because I had introduced my entire family to him.
Yeah.
You know, I just didn't introduce my niece, as people are saying, I just left her there. No, her parents brought her down. I wouldn't dare leave her in a situation. And when I did see her, when I walked in one day in the studio and saw her alone, I was like, who are you here with?
Yeah.
You know? And I immediately called my sister. And then maybe 10, 15 minutes later, my brother-in-law walks in smiling. So never.
Said that we were weak long enough, but time is up.
That was a snippet of Sparkle's new single, We Are Ready. So this is a really personal and powerful song to you. Was this a hard one to write?
You know what? LaShawn Big Shiz Daniels partnered with us with this song. Like, we had been working on my new EP that's coming out later this summer since late 2018. And when I sat down for 4.5, 5 hours in that hot seat for the Surviving R. Kelly piece, you know, I was like, gotta go back in, because this wasn't supposed to be the first single out. And I wanted to speak to this moment and to this time. And this song is just so powerful and heavy, and it speaks to the time and the moment. The lyrics are so befitting, you know what I mean? Just not for the Surviving R. Kelly piece, but just worldwide. Just the crazy things that we're going through right now in this world. It's just, you know, it's a piece for the time.
And I just wanted to clarify your efforts that you said you were getting phone calls about your niece, potentially about your niece, and then you acted on it and ended up calling DCFS.
I did.
How did your efforts continue after that for this to get attention like it needed?
Well, I kept speaking up, speaking out, whoever would listen to me. You know, I called the authorities right away. You know what I mean? I didn't sit on my hands thinking that, you know, it'll just suddenly disappear or somebody will come to my aid. I kept on with it.
It impacted your career.
Yeah, it did. It really did. And, you know, I stopped for a bit because I was just like, industry was just ugh to me at that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Sparkle,
And
when
so-
you...
And not having the backing of anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When you look at the interaction between R. Kelly and Gayle King, which had everybody talking for days that day and days after, what was your impression?
I thought it was a performance. Robert's always on stage. You know, not to say that the tears weren't true for him at that moment, because, yeah, it's heavy now. People are now listening to me or listening to everybody else that's come behind me and giving their truth and giving their stories about what has gone on and transpired for them. You know, and yeah, it's real now.
I wanted to ask you about that too, because you're really the first one to speak out about him many years ago, but so much has happened since then, and especially since the docu-series came out. How does it feel now to have all these accusations being taken more seriously, finally?
I'm finally like, thank you guys. Like, thanks for having my back now, because back then I had nobody. When in the song I say it was me before there was a Me Too. I really feel that way. I'm happy that Me Too time's up and everybody else has got my back now. You know what I mean? Because there was nobody and I was alone in it. You know?
You know,
and it hurt. It hurt.
No
yes,
doubt.
it did.
I'm going to ask you, and I'd prefer you don't talk to us here at the desk with this
Okay.
next question, but if you could talk to this camera right here, as I watched Joycelyn and Azriel, his two girlfriends, who were girls and have matured to young women, but still felt like it was two young girls, who were so steadfastly loyal to R. Kelly. And as a father of a young child, I wanted to say, I hope I never lose my child, and that stronghold you want to have on them as a parent. It's clearly lost there, and it's all in the hands of R. Kelly. If you could talk to those two girls in that camera, what would you say to Joycelyn and Ezreal?
Wow, you know, girls, like I know that your parents, the Clarys and the Savages, I know that they are yearning to have you back in their arms. You know, a phone call, a text, anything, I'm sure would lighten their heart a little bit, you know. But girls, I would say go back to your mom and your dad, because there's nothing like the love of them. Yeah, you may think Robert loves you and cares for you, but there's nothing like the love of your family and your mom and your dad especially. So I implore you to, like, please just think about it, ladies. I mean, I know he's got their head. Yeah, he's got their head.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for
Thank you
having
for
me.
joining
Really
us.
appreciate you having us.
Well,
And
you
the strength of this woman here,
Thank
to be
you.
the first to stand
I
up.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I really do.
You can listen to her song, We Are Ready. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, and Pandora. A very heartfelt song there, and related to this moment right now.